Ladies, this is the Cricut Cake Machine. I'm going to open it up and you will see that it has a whole lot of goodies in it. Switch it on and it all lights up. That's just the machine working, just setting itself up. The machine comes with a number of templates. This is one called Cake Basics. These are all blank till you put your template over, which tells you what everything is going to do. With all of the machines, with all of the templates, these grade buttons tend to be the same. They all come with a cartridge that sits in here at the bottom. It has, I'm going to tip this machine up. There is inside here a cutting blade. There's a screw there for you to take the blade out and change it or clean it, do whatever you need to do. But that sits there. It runs along this metal pole bar and it cuts your paste for you. What goes in there is a cutting mat, and it sits, there is a little arrow saying which side to put it in, and it sits here. You actually just rest it there until you switch the machine on and load it. I'm not going to load it at the moment. You will see it looks like it's dirty. It's not. The back comes off. And you can scrub this to your heart's content, but you're not going to get any more of this off. It comes off at the back eventually, so you have to just replace these after a while. Right. The one I'm doing is Cake Basics, the one I'm going to show you what things are. It comes with a little book. And in the little book, it basically tells you the various things you can do, the various features that it has. Going through them quickly. This is your on-off button to set the machine up. This stops it if you're in the middle of doing something and you find you've done something wrong. Just stop the machine if you need to. This is your cutting button. When you're ready and you're all set up, you hit that button, it will start to cut. Around it are some arrows. These are to move the cutting blade along the bar, or it also moves the mat up and forward so that you can start cutting in exactly the precise place you want to start cutting. You have a number of pictures on here. If we start looking at this, just looking at the white ones, you have two different pictures on each one. You have a dark one and a grayed out one. It's a bit like your keyboard where you have capitals and lowercase. So on here, this side here, you will have a shift for your capital. That will give you the grayed top area. If you want to keep them all from the top, you'd set the lock. As well as the pictures, each picture square also has text underneath it. The way to find out what's in each square is to go through your book. In your book, I'm just opening it up randomly. This is W. So if I look at this, I've got a flower and another flower. Now finding this on here, here we are. It is this one. So if I want to do the flower, as it is there, I press, there's a whole pile of buttons on here. It says font, base shadow, font shadow, plain base, plain phrase, plain shadow blackout, real dial size, shift lock, and a material saver. Actually, I don't know what that is for. But if I was doing this, if I want to do just this font as it is, I would press the font button. And then I will get a W if I press this. I'm going to press it and you see a W will come up on here. So if I press this one here, it's going to give me a W. There you go, W. If I wanted a thicker W, I would take you off and I would press the font shadow. And where am I? Sorry, wrong one. Font shadow is this one. Where are we? There we are. a nice thick W. Sorry, I'm fiddling with these. And this is how you would work your way through. There's everything from numbers to letters to pictures. If you were looking for, say you just wanted the solid one without the hole in the middle, bit in the middle, you would look for the base shadow blackout, which is this one. And that would give me a solid picture. This one has nothing in this particular one. Let's go and look for something that has got something there. Go look for a phrase. There we go. So this particular one, although it looks like a strip on the picture, looking for it, where are you? There. There it is there. It matches this one. I can do it as a plain base, which is this one, plain base, and I would get, let's have a look. It would give me, if you can see here, that. If I want the phrase, then I would look at either font, it says the font, which is this one, plain phrase, or the font shadow. So there's slight variations in them. That one's thinner, that one's a bit thicker, and that one's thicker still. So if I wanted to go to get this particular happy thing, I would be looking at this button, but you'll notice at the top part of this button, so you need to press the shift as if you're on a computer. So you press the shift, and then you would press plain phrase, plain phrase, plain phrase, there it is, plain phrase, press the shift, and if I press this now, I should get happy coming up. It's just taking the, oh, you did it. Sorry, I've got you did it. Where am I doing shift? Shift should give me, do it again, should give me happy. There we go, gives me happy. Without the shift on it, I would have got this phrase that says you did it. So you work your way around. All of these are without the shift in, the bottom ones, and the top ones are with the shift on. And each one, it says on it, which is the button over here that you need to press. Okay. If you have the buttons on the right hand side are to help you control it a bit more. You can load your mat on here. You can unload your mat on here. You can load it so that it goes to the last point. If you have done something and you want to have a look at it and you unload the mat, and you then want to go back to where you just finished, you would load it back in and put load last. The machine will remember exactly where you were. You can set a cutting area. This sound on and off apparently is a Cricut sound. You can repeat the last thing that you've put, the last instruction you gave it. You can clear the display completely if you've made a mistake. You can make a space, say you're doing a name or something and you want a space between something, you can put a space in, and you can use a backspace to delete a letter. If you were doing someone's name and you'd put the wrong letter in, you can backspace it and get rid of it. This is your on-off button, as I say. Over here, this is your screen, so you can see what's going on. On your screen, I'm going to move this across a bit more over here and see if you can see it a bit more. Yes, you can. On here, you've got a size, you've got a pressure, you've got a speed, and you've got a mat size. Now, the mat size will sense it when you put it in. It will correct that. The speed, there are two dials on here. One is a speed, one is a pressure. Now, for some reason or other, that speed is a bit high. It's on full speed, if you can see all the bars. I'm going to move the speed, and you'll see speed gets less. You're better off with a medium speed, and you're better off with a medium pressure. So I'm going to the bottom, you can see I'm increasing the pressure. You've got more bars. You've got up to 5 bars. Size. The size is on the other side of the machine. I'm going to move this so you can see. Can you see here? This is the size dial. As you turn this dial, so the size will change. I'm going to move you back so you can see my screen. And I'm just going to move this dial and see if you can see here the size changing. 1 1/4, 1. You can go down to 1/4 of an inch. You can go all the way up to, you can make something as big or as small as you like. Okay. So I'm going to go back to, I tend to work with letters that are about 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. You have a number of buttons on the top here. This allows you multi-cuts. I've never used the center point. Flip means that you can flip your image the other way. So when you cut it, you will then have a mirror image, a reverse image on it. This is a line return, which I never use, and I never use any of these. I don't really worry about the settings. The mat, it sets itself up for the mat. You can change the mat manually. Please load the mat paper beforehand so it can sense it. We have a number of buttons at the top. Quantity allows you to say how many you want. You would press that, and it says use the left and right button to decide. I've got quantity of 5 in there, down to 4, down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. If I want to autofill, so switch that off because I'm not really worried about that. Without the button on, you're just going to get one of everything. If you have a lot of something to do, I can remember doing a whole lot of butterflies for something. I think they were for cupcakes. And I rolled my paste out so it covered the whole of the cutting mat. I then loaded it up, selected the butterfly, selected the size I wanted, and pressed autofill. It then works out how many it can fit on that page that you've rolled out, and once you hit the button, it will carry on cutting until it's cut out as many as it can fit on the page, which is quite handy if you're doing an awful lot of things. You're right. So I'm going to do this in 2 parts. So I'm going to just load this now. There's nothing on here. I'm just going to show you how we load this. You may have to move my camera so that you can see what I'm doing. I'll move this backwards. Obviously, you need to leave enough space at the back of the machine for the mat to go in and out as it cuts. But what you're going to do to load it is you roll your icing out. It's a good idea to roll it out, especially, and possibly leave it a little while just to set a bit so that it doesn't pull when it's cutting. So to load your mat, you put your mat against the 2 rollers. It'll stop. You press load mat and it will load it up. It loads it up so that it will stay within this line, which is your cutting line. If you go in the pink areas, you're going to have your icing go over the roller, which you don't want. So you want to stay away from the pink areas. When you roll it out, trim it down so that you're within the square. If you want to then move your sheet further up, you can use, so we go down, that'll move it up, that'll move it back down. This one on the side will move it this way, and that will move it that way. And when you are actually ready to do your cutting, these ones will move it at angles for you. So you've got up, right, left, up and down, and 4 angles to do it. When you are finished and it's finished cutting, you unload the mat. Don't just pull it out, unload it. Okay, I think that's just about everything as far as that's concerned, and we will be ready to actually cut something in a minute.